answer any, and in case if you have anything that I should add, or you want to add,
Let me just add one thing. Sure. That is that Earl Richardson has no boss except for Dr. Sheila Richardson. But in terms of the state's defense of this case, just be aware that the judge ruled 3 years ago that the state of Maryland never dismantled its dual system of higher education. It never undid its unconstitutional segregated system. That's important. The state of Maryland has never complied with Brown v. Board of Education in terms of higher education and with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. That's what the court ruled. And so when Dr. Richardson talks about a remedial phase of the trial, it's to fix that constitutional violation. But in defense, the state is not proposing to dismantle its dual system. Instead, it's really just trying to justify maintaining it. It's trying to maintain the status quo. And it's doing it in these ways. It's first saying, and if you come to the court in the next 2 weeks, you will hear this laid out in evidence. We know this by virtue of their opening argument 3 weeks ago and the way they have cross-examined the coalition's witnesses. But their first defense is the HBCUs are doing just fine. They got beautiful campuses, they've got nice buildings, they got plenty of programs, they're doing just fine. Second, even if we gave them more academic programs, even if we gave them what they are proposing, it's not going to desegregate the schools because white students just aren't going to go there. That's their defense. I'm not making this up. It's really the same type of defense that school systems used to argue in courts after 1954 Brown. And then the court is finally saying, the defendants are finally saying, and you know what? Even if we accept the court's decision that the traditionally white schools have duplicated the high demand programs, the popular programs that were in place at the HBCUs, even if we duplicated, we can't transfer them back because it will devastate our institutions, our traditionally white institutions. So that's what you'll hear, and it's an astonishing thing for civil rights lawyers like me or anybody to sit in a courtroom in 2017 and hear the state make those kinds of defenses, but that's exactly what they're doing. Wow. And it should also be pointed out that the defense counsel has been sure that every day a representative from the governor's office is in the courtroom, sitting with them at the defense counsel's table. And every morning, when the judge begins the day, the first thing defense counsel does is introduce to the judge by name who was here from the governor's office, just to make sure she knows that the governor's there. Now, we have to counter that politically any way you want to do it, but the state is defending this because they want to maintain their system, not dismantle.
Senator, let me just say, now, the coalition, that is the coalition of the four alumni faculty of the four historically black colleges. The president of the coalition is David Virtue. He has a business of his own, and he flew out to Florida tonight and couldn't be here. But he too has given of his time and effort ever since 2006. And we want to thank him, but I just wanted to let you know, we're spokesmen because we are part of a center that studies these things. But he is the president of the coalition, and he's not here, but he'd be happy to be a part.
All right, before we start, I'm gonna have someone speak from one of the 4 campuses. If you will.
Bob Johnson.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm my grandson of preaching. I know about ways to get your message out in a short period of time, and the benefit it has to keep your attention. So I promise you I won't keep you on. One thing I add before the things that I prepared to say is in their vigorous defense of this case. They also bring up the fact, I heard on opening statements from defense lawyers that keep in mind that the state is going through a terrible financial situation. But if some of you went to the Capitol House with us in last February, you heard that we mentioned that the state has in excess of $1.2 billion in apportionments to the campuses in the USM system. So that's not including the independent schools. Only about 125 million of that is distributed to the HBCUs. So a small drop in the bucket. If you look at 120, UMES has $38 million state funding level. Bowie has about 41 million. Coppin has about 41 million. That's less than 120 million, right? But they have over a $1.2 billion investment in the 11 USM campuses. So expand that a little bit more to one more HBCU margin, but you have a few more independent campuses. So there's a significant investment in these campuses in a relatively, I call it a relatively small investment in the HBCUs. That, if we're talking about, Dr. Richardson doesn't touch on this, what has happened is we can't talk about increasing base funding, but anything to strengthen programs that existing programs on campuses are going to require some type of resource. And you can't get caught up in this suggestion that the state is poor and can't afford to be able to carry out any type of remedies that the judge may eventually hand down. So I want you to understand, I want you to research that for yourself. In fact, I know College Park has over $500 million a year funding level. That's more than I would imagine that's more than the 4 HBCUs combined. So don't fall down into this talk about keep in mind that the state's going through a tough time. Okay, come out and support. What's happening on UMES's campus? A year and a half ago, we started to get a little bit more involved under coalition suggestions. We started to have town hall meetings, expressions of proceedings in the case at faculty assembly and Senate meetings. Just like anything, the legal proceedings are very tough. I don't know why you lawyers make that wording of these documents so tough to read. It required folk to kind of ramp up. We started to get involved in developing this 4-campus HBCU faculty caucus that planned to rally on the State House last year. We are seeing students now starting Twitter and all kind of social network activities that are alerting them and kind of informing them about the importance of the case. But we have some specific things at UMES that we're concerned about. In the judge's ruling, she makes some mention that the injury to UMES due to unnecessary duplication may be somewhat minimal, and we dispute that. She also makes reference that that there's this model collaboration between the campuses of UMES and Salisbury, and some of the other schools should take note of this beautiful relationship. I tell you, in my last 2 minutes, that it is not the case. All right, it is not the case. UMES needs to have some infrastructure improvements and some support to be able to carry out the education of the student population that we attract. The relationship between Salisbury and UMES, I'm going to tell you, is one-sided. Okay? Somehow the programs and the collaboration that the judge is speaking of, it appears that it is one-sided, that they benefit most and greatly. They went over a total population of close to 9,000 students in the fall, record enrollment. Of course, you read the newspaper about our sudden dip. It's because we have difficulties now keeping the programs at levels of efficiency to attract a balanced enrollment. That means all races, especially those who can pay. Okay, so we have some concern about the judge's comments. I'll give you the last example. You might hear about this relationship we have with Salisbury in the education department. She pointed somewhat to that. Do we have any educators in here today? School teachers? I'm going to share it with you. Quickly, please. You share it with me. We have math education, chemistry education, special ed. Salisbury has early childhood education. What is the most popularly enrolled program in education?
Early childhood.
They have education program that's 4 times the size. So when you hear about this model collaboration, you need to think about what programs they're talking about, and the notion that we're doing fine. Yesterday we found out that we have less than 3,000 students enrolled for the spring. So as he shares about the urgency, I was bringing it to a campus level. Maybe someone else can talk about their campus, but I invite you to come out and